Optimism was all the rage today in Washington as the U.S. and China agreed to extend their trade talks for a few days, fueling sentiment that a deal might be hammered out before next week's tariff deadline. President Trump also confirmed that he will meet with his Chinese counterpart next month. Stocks responded to that news, and we'll have more on that in a moment. But first, Kayla Tausche has more on the trade talks.
After 2 days of cabinet-level negotiations and just 1 week before a critical trade deadline, both President Trump and the Chinese vice premier say a deal is more likely than not.
I would say that it's more likely that a deal will happen. The fact that they're staying, and this is a very high delegation. This is a man who is revered all throughout China as the vice premier. So the fact that they're willing to stay for quite a bit longer period, doubling up the time, that means something. I think there's a good chance that it happens.
Despite that optimism, the deal is not done yet. The Chinese delegation will be staying in Washington for 2 more days, after which point the president's advisors will recommend whether to extend that March 1st deadline. The president says there will be at least 1 more round of talks and then a summit between him and the Chinese president, at which the biggest decisions will be made. So far, the U.S. team says there has been progress made on currency and on the issue of Chinese companies stealing the technology of their U.S. counterparts. And President Trump even said he'd be willing to consider dropping criminal charges against Chinese telecom Huawei in the coming weeks. All of this movement coming nearly 1 year as this trade spat has escalated, but potentially the end is in sight. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Kayla Tausche in Washington.